5:30 right there. We're live.
Right.
Are we live?
We're live.
Okay, go
Well,
ahead.
good evening, everybody, and welcome to tonight's regular board meeting, Monday, June 9, 2025. This time, would you all please rise for the I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We have met compliance with all official notifications. Roll call, please.
Nick Olson. Here. Sarah Schubert McCone. Shelley Moen.
Here.
Catherine Gabon.
Here.
President Steve Olson.
Here.
Nick Schumacher here. Absent Laura Gapsky.
This meeting is a meeting of the Board of Education held in public for the purpose of conducting the school district's business and is not to be considered a public community meeting. There is a time for comments by members of the public during the meeting as indicated on the agenda. Members of the public wishing to address the board on any of the topics included on tonight's agenda may do so by signing up on the public comments sign-up sheet by the entrance prior to the start of the meeting. The board requests refraining from making any comments involving personally identifiable information about students, staff, or administration. Comments should be respectful, focus on the items being considered by the board, and will be restricted to 3 minutes in length. Action taken at today's meeting is to forward the recommendation for final approval at this regular school board meeting today, Monday, June 9, 2025. Any members of the public? None. Disposition of minutes from May 12, 2025.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion a second to approve the minutes from May 12, 2025. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Informational items from our superintendent.
All right. My first informational item is recognition of our guest teacher of the year. So the last several years, we have wanted to recognize some of our guest teachers of the year who just do an amazing job, who are very dependable. Our teachers can depend on them. Our students love working with them. And it's been fun every June to be able, for the last several years, to be able to recognize these teachers. We push out those nominations, and this year we're pleased to share that Taylor was recognized as our teacher of the year. And I just want to read the that a couple people mentioned. Taylor has the ability to teach students and has been a reliable teacher that we can count on. He has communication skills and well with students. And I'm nominating her because he is very good guest teacher who puts in a lot of time. All of our students at the high school forward to see him enjoy. He subs, he makes classes fun, and I was saying hi to kids in the hallway. I think he deserves to get this recognition for his good job. He would have been here tonight. He's also our assistant golf coach. So he's tonight. So David Coy and I will pop over to one of his schools this week when he's stopping and make sure that recognizing that recognition. But we let him know last week that we were going to be recognizing him tonight. So
In fact, I on the state tournament with
yeah.
Pat and Galboy.
Yep.
Which is really cool. Taylor is a former student of ours, student athlete, and had a pretty darn good career while he was in our school district. So
My own daughter
nice to have him back.
enjoys when he comes and subs. She sees him at the golf course and stuff. So it's fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, at the COW meeting on June 2nd, Principal Ryan Haroldson provided a Great Lakes Elementary School update. You can click on the word attached and see his whole presentation. Ryan is so passionate and dedicated to the work he does, and it shows. It
He gets results.
does such a wonderful job. Moving on to the board committee reports, policies and rules, informational items. At the COW on June 2nd, SMS SRO Matt Swanson and SHS SRO Amanda Mundell provided a school resource officer program report for the 24-25 school year pursuant to policy 8407, and that is also attached for anybody to take a look at. And they were both at the graduation on Friday night too, so it was nice to see them there. Action items, administration proposes the approval of changes to the following policies based on Neola recommendations in order to be in compliance with federal law updates. Second reading of policy 5411, third grade promotion and retention, at-risk students. In 2023, Wisconsin enacted Act 20 to strengthen early literacy efforts. As part of this law, school districts must implement a policy for promoting students from 3rd to 4th grade, following the model provided by the Department of Public Instruction, DPI. Neola, with legal guidance, has developed a policy in compliance with Act 20 and the DPI model. Districts are required to adopt this policy by July 1, 2025. We will be implementing this policy then in September 1 of 2027 by state statute. Adopting this policy is required to maintain statutory compliance.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve policy 5411. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Second reading of policy 2271.01, Start College Now program. The policy is updated to reflect that, in addition to any tuition cost, the law requires that the district pay the costs of course fees and books to the same extent that a student who is attending the technical college and who is a resident of this state would be charged.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve policy 2271.01. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Operations Committee action item and
Motion to accept policies and rules committee report.
thank you.
Second.
Motion to second to accept the policy and rules committee report. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Operations Committee action items. Administration recommends approval of annual resolution 25-01 compliance maintenance resolution.
Second.
Motion second. Compliance maintenance resolution. Resolved that the School District of Superior, Wisconsin informs the Department of Natural Resources that the following actions were taken by the Board of Education. Reviewed the results of the compliance maintenance annual report. Set forth the following actions necessary to maintain effluent requirements contained in the WPDES permit. Maintain the system as per standards. Supply adequate training for operations and management. Discharge through sand filters if the pre-discharge sampling indicates total suspend solids are anywhere close to the limits. Perform additional removal of aquatic vegetation. Discharge through sand filters if the pre-discharge sampling indicates the mold is anywhere close to the limit and considers other aeration methods as necessary. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Another action item, administration recommends an increased cost for all student and staff lunches effective July 1, 2025.
To approve.
Second.
Motion is second to approve the increased cost for all students and staff lunches effective July 1, 2025. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Informational items. Jamie Wilson gave us a very thorough explanation of our summer food service flyer and the work that they do with the City of Superior and the Parks and Recreation. Motion to accept the Operations Committee report.
Motion to accept the Operations Committee report.
Second.
Motion to second to accept the Operations Committee report. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Teaching and Learning Committee informational items. Crystal Hintzman, Director of Curriculum and Instruction, let us know about summer professional development and about the book that some of the people will be reading. Everything seems to be in place for our summer program. Kate Test, Director of Continuous Improvement and Assessment, the end of the year of the Achievement Gap Reduction Report, Annual Bullying Report, pursuant to Policy 5517 and 5517.01.
Motion to accept the teaching and learning committee report.
Second.
Motion is second to accept the teaching and learning committee report. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Personnel and Negotiations Committee action item. Administration recommends approval of the June 2025 new hires and separations report.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion is second to accept the recommendation of new hires and separations report for June 2025. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, motion carries.
Motion to accept the Personnel and Negotiations Committee report.
Moving so fast and I know
I love it,
I
Steve.
want you to get to your
You're-
softball game
You're very passionate.
on time.
I love it.
Steve,
There's a
Take your
motion
time.
and a second
There's no
to
hurry.
accept the Personnel Negotiations Committee report. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Legislative Committee informational items. Democratic Governor Tony Evers met twice with GOP legislative leaders as budget talks have ramped up according to multiple resources. There was a report that they had kind of shut down for a while. However, late today, the Joint Finance Committee, the powerful committee responsible for crafting the state budget, has finally scheduled its vote on K-12 education aids. The committee will meet on Thursday, June 12th at 1 p.m. to decide on what level of funding your district will receive for the next 2 school years. So we do have a couple of days to reach out to Senator Quinn and anybody else that you would write your letter to or to contact.
I forwarded right before the board meeting, a note from WASB, and I went in before and it's very easy. You just go in and click, personalize it and send. They've already got it set up, so.
So I encourage
Mhm.
all of us that we do something like that prior to Thursday. Is there a motion to accept the legislative committee report?
Make a motion to accept the legislative committee report.
second.
In a second to accept the legislative committee report. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, motion carries. Budget Insurance Committee action items, gifts, grants, and bequests. Administration recommends approval to accept grants and bequests received in May 2025.
Motion to approve.
Second.
You can see especially the high school where the all-night grad party, which we're hearing went very well.
Mhm.
With all the donations, so thank you very much. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Administration recommends approval of the 2025-26 preliminary budget.
Motion
To approve. Second.
Melissa Reckel,
I didn't do both then.
administration. There's a motion and a second to accept the approval of the 2025-26 preliminary budget. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, motion carries. Informational items, there was a review of our Fund 10 revenue and expenditure preliminary reports. And we're getting close to the end and we're still hanging in there.
See Dave smiling.
Numbers still like. After the audit, but thanks.
Is there a motion to accept the Budget and Rules Committee report?
Motion to accept the Budget and Rules Committee report.
Motion and a second to accept the Budget and Rules Committee report. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. District and program highlights. Anything from any of our board members or anything else?
Graduation was awesome.
It was awesome.
It was.
Awesome.
Thank you to everyone who put it together. It was.
Great speeches.
Thanks to whoever ordered the good weather.
Yep. Amazing.
It was nice.
I thought that was you.
It was. It
Little
was.
sunny at the beginning,
A little
but
hot on the face, yeah, but it was, yeah, it was perfect.
Native graduation the week before. Did we talk about that last week? I don't remember.
we did.
We did? I didn't say anything about it. It was
No, you
amazing. Amazing as well. So,
Troy did a nice job.
yeah, he did.
Yeah.
He did. Yep.
Yeah, pretty cool to see that. All right, consideration of bills and pre-approved bills.
Make a motion to pay the bills.
Yes.
And a second, pay our bills. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Reminder, July, we will be meeting, just once.
Ooh. I love being.
However, that'll be June.
July.
July
Like 14, I think, right? Yeah,
13th.
Best deal with it.
it's your birthday.
And then,
Oh.
information was sent out about the, picking the date for, it will be the 28th. Okay. For the retreat and stuff. And
Will you be sending those invites?
I did,
Okay.
but I'll double check to
I
make sure.
probably forgot. I accept
on
a lot of
there?
invites.
But yes, we.
Okay.
then Amy and I will be working on the agenda and stuff and just know that part of the process that evening will be, you'll be able to bring some of your thoughts to, what about this? What about that?
I think our hope, well, it was your idea, was to kind of think about planning for the upcoming school year. One of the things I'd like to be thinking about going into the next school year is what presentations, student groups would you like us to bring and schedule? Would you like to hear from? So, yeah, so I'll be thinking about that, get them on the calendar. Because we've kind of had the same folks coming forward. So if there's some new groups, let's.
All right, with that, I'd accept the motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second to adjourn. All those in favor, or roll call, please.
Nick Olson,
Aye.
Sarah Schubert McCone, Shelley Moen,
Aye.
Catherine Gurman,
Aye.
President Steve Olson,
Aye,
Nick Schumacher, aye. Gatsky.
we are adjourned.
Did it.
16 minutes.
Steve?
16 minutes.
One of the fastest